I'm 87 years old, and a few months ago I discovered something about my life that shook me in a way I never expected. I always believed I'd lived a good life, a successful life. I worked hard, I provided for my family, I built a respectable career. For decades, people looked at me and said the same thing: "You're a lucky man." And for most of my life, I believed them. But something happened last winter that forced me to see my life in a way I never had before. It was a quiet Tuesday evening. Nothing special, nothing dramatic. I was sitting alone in my living room. The house was silent. Not the peaceful kind of silence, but the kind that feels heavy. The kind that reminds you how empty a place can feel. My wife passed away 3 years ago. My children live in different cities now. They call sometimes. They visit when they can. But most days, it's just me. That night, I was sitting in my chair looking at an old photo album, photos from when I was younger. And that's when something strange happened. I saw a picture of myself at 32 years old, standing beside my wife on a beach vacation. We were smiling, laughing. She had her arm around me, and for a moment I didn't recognize the man in that photo. He looked alive, hopeful, present. And suddenly I asked myself a question that I had never asked before in my entire life. Was I actually happy back then? Or was I just busy? You see, for most of my life, I believed happiness came from achievement. Work harder, earn more, build something meaningful, and someday you'll finally relax. Someday you'll finally enjoy it all. But here's the strange part. That someday never came. When I was 25, I told myself I would slow down once I was established. When I was 35, I said things would get easier after the promotion. At 45, I said life would calm down once the kids grew up. At 55, I promised myself retirement would be the reward. And then suddenly I blinked, and I was 70. Life didn't slow down the way I expected. It just passed. I remember one night when my daughter was around 10 years old. She came into my office while I was working late at home. She asked me if I could come outside and watch the stars with her. Just 10 minutes. That's all she asked. And I remember exactly what I told her. "Maybe tomorrow. I'm busy tonight." She nodded, smiled politely, and walked away. I don't remember most of the work I did that night, but I remember that moment perfectly. Because children stop asking eventually. Not because they stop loving you, but because they learn you're always busy. My wife used to say something to me all the time. Life isn't just about building a future, it's about living the present. Back then I thought she was being sentimental. Now I realize she was being wise. There were so many evenings she wanted to go for a walk. Simple things, nothing expensive, nothing complicated, just a walk around the neighborhood. But many nights I would say, "I'm tired today. Let's do it another time." Another time. 2 words that sound harmless, but over the years, those 2 words quietly erase thousands of moments. And the cruel part is, you don't realize what you're losing until those moments are no longer possible. When my wife passed away 3 years ago, something changed inside me. The house didn't just lose her presence, it lost its warmth. Her laughter used to fill every corner. Now sometimes days pass without a single conversation, and that's when the memories come back. Not the big milestones, not the promotions, not the business successes. Those memories feel strangely distant now. The memories that return are much smaller. A Sunday breakfast together. Her sitting beside me while we watched an old movie. The way she would smile when I came home from work. Those were the moments that actually mattered. But at the time, I treated them like background noise. I thought happiness was somewhere ahead, something I was still working toward. But happiness was never in the future. It was quietly happening around me the entire time, and I was too distracted to notice. A few weeks ago, my grandson visited me. He's 19, full of energy, always moving, always busy. He was sitting across from me on the couch, scrolling through his phone. I watched him for a moment, and suddenly I saw something familiar. It looked exactly like me when I was young. Always rushing, always chasing something. I asked him a simple question. Do you feel happy these days? He paused for a second, then said, I guess so. I'm just busy right now. Busy. The same word I used for 50 years. And I realized something important in that moment. Most people don't lose their happiness because of tragedy. They lose it because of distraction. Because life becomes a long list of responsibilities, deadlines, bills, ambitions, plans. And slowly, without noticing, we stop experiencing the present moment. We live inside our schedules, our worries, our goals, until one day we finally sit down and realize the years are gone. That evening, when I sat alone at 87 looking at my old photos, I finally understood something. Happiness was never hiding from me. I was simply walking past it, every single day, in ordinary moments, a conversation, a walk, a quiet dinner, a child asking you to look at the stars. Those moments don't feel important when they happen, but one day, they become everything. If there is one thing I wish someone had told me when I was younger, it's this. Life doesn't wait for the perfect time to be enjoyed. The perfect time never arrives. The only time you ever truly have is right now. Not when work slows down, not when money improves, not when life becomes easier. Right now. Because if you keep waiting for the right moment to live, you may wake up one day like I did, sitting alone in a quiet room, looking at old photographs, realizing the life you were chasing was quietly happening while you were busy chasing it. I'm 87 years old now. I don't know how many years I have left. Maybe 5, maybe 10, maybe less. But these days I try to live differently. When my grandson visits, I put my phone away. When someone calls, I take my time talking. When the sun sets outside my window, I stop and watch it. Simple things. Things I ignored for most of my life. And strangely, those small moments feel richer than anything I worked for. So if you're listening to this right now, let me leave you with one thought. Don't wait until you're sitting alone in your 80s to ask yourself if you were truly happy. Ask yourself today. And if the answer isn't clear, slow down. Look around. Pay attention to the people beside you. Because happiness isn't something you achieve someday. It's something you notice before it quietly disappears.